All right, this video is going to be shorter than most, but so yesterday, Gennady Golovkin came out, and he wasn't the smiling, friendly, come on, give me a hug, let me take a picture with you guy who we're used to seeing outside of the ring. He's upset. He's concerned, and his concern has to do with just some intel that came his way by way of possibly some doctors, some insiders about Saul Canelo Alvarez taking a pill after the weigh-in, having some injections of whatever, and that cleanse that he got busted for. One thing people don't mention is that, and that's the clenbuterol, is that, yeah, it helps with weight loss, it helps you retain muscle and everything like that, but it's also something a lot of times that's taken in combination with other types of drugs. Now, I stated earlier, I mean, boxing doesn't want to know the real answer. If they did, they would take his team, everybody that eats with him during camp, and they test everyone. And if they came up negative, because they eat their meals together, generally, when you talk about a training camp, if they come up negative, well, then you know what it's hitting for. You know what time it is. That's not going to happen. The hair sample's not going to happen. But the reason I'm doing this video is I want to get everybody's take. Just leave your comment below. I'm trying to get 10 comments. Can I get 10? Billy Joe Saunders all of a sudden is injured. Okay? And my question is, could this be the beginning of a double cross? Meaning, could G be about to double cross Nello? Or could Nello be about to double cross G? And I sent an email out talking to my man Victor from Split D Boxing, and I said, I can see Oscar telling Canelo, look, we don't need Triple G. We're gonna make money. We made money before him. We'll make even more after him. Also, we're going to file some lawsuits against Golovkin, because once our tests come up clean with Bob Bennett, who's a joke, and his investigation, when it exonerates us, we'll sue for libel, for defamation, for slander. I mean, they all pretty much mean the same thing. And but hear me out. So when Terrence Crawford was supposed to fight Jeff Horn, and he hurt his hand, okay, I'm sure there's more to that story, but they backed the date up just like a few weeks later, and then he'll fight Horn, okay? Hand injury, a few weeks later. Follow me. Billy Joe Saunders was supposed to fight April 14th. Now he has the hand injury. Now the Canelo versus Triple G fight is supposed to happen May 5th. Only a few weeks later, just like Crawford and Horn. Same thing, hand injury, postpone the fight. So could this mean, could Oscar have told Canelo, look, we're gonna stay in camp, and then in another week or so, we're just gonna announce that Golovkin's out. I mean, we're the A side, and which I hate, and we'll go ahead and fight Saunders May 5th. Or could G and Tommy Loeffler and his team say, listen, the guaranteed salary for Canelo in the first fight was $3 million for Golovkin. Golovkin's purse was $3 million. We're not counting all the extras. If you fight Billy Joe Saunders, I'll call him his real name, Billy Joe Saunders. If you fight him in the UK, if you fight him in a 30,000 seat arena, 30,000 people are going to come. 33,000 are going to come. If you fight him in a 50,000 seat stadium, 53,000 people will come. So when you look at the fact that Anthony Joshua is making over $20 million for Carlos Takam, his last fight. Carlos Takam is not a household name. Then Golovkin is bound to make more than $3 million fighting Billy Joe Saunders if he decides to take that fight. And he's getting all his eggs in one basket because his one dream was to be undisputed, which can't happen if he fights Alvarez. Alvarez doesn't hold any belts. So I just want everybody's opinion. Could a double cross be in the works where either Canelo and Oscar are going to walk and fight Saunders, whose hand will magically be healed in a couple of weeks? Or is Team Golovkin cutting a side deal? I just, the timing. And listen, none of this stuff could be true. I'm trying to be the Oliver North of this thing, and the Oliver North of this thing, and play conspiracy theorists, which I really enjoy doing. So I don't know. The timing. I don't know. Could one side or both sides be trying to double cross the other? And if I'm Billy Joe Saunders, if I'm Team Saunders, and it's risky, but it depending on who's trying to double cross who. If Canelo is trying to cut a side deal to fight Saunders and then give Golovkin his walking papers, well, and then having Bob Bennett behind him, Nevada State Athletic Commission behind him, that A-side crap behind him, like everything behind him, Vegas, cash cow, all that puts Golovkin in a spot. And it's like, when you run your mouth, this is what you get in this game. And you're at an age now where you can't afford time off. You've already been off 8 months come fight night. Then, look, I'm not going to knock. If that's the case, then I'm not going to knock Billy Joe Saunders' hustle. It's like, hey, let's make it happen. On the flip side, if it's Team Golovkin that stepped to Saunders, if I'm Team Saunders, I place a quiet phone call to Golden Boy and say, hey, listen, let's keep it off the record, but Golovkin pretty much offered me X amount of dollars. If you can up that by 1 or 1.5 or 2 million even, then I'll fight you guys. But I just want to let you know that they came to me trying to cut a side deal. He can't do it on the other side. Like if Canelo, he wouldn't go to Golovkin and say, well, Canelo offered me a side deal too. Because Team Golovkin will probably put it on blast, and that'll be that. So this is interesting. I got a lot of friends. Now, I know everybody's take on this. It's like, man, nothing's going to happen. This is boxing. They're going to clear Saul Canelo Alvarez, and the fight's going to go on. Because Golovkin's going to fight regardless. As I stated, he's like Julian Williams. Julian Williams and Gennady Golovkin, all they worry about is, I just want the world to know that I'm clean. So if I lose, and some years down the line we find out my opponent was juicing, well, then I'm exonerated. I may have lost an opportunity for a title, but we can start this class action lawsuit and maybe I can get some back end money post retirement. But the bottom line is they want the world to know that they're clean. So they don't care, and they don't care that while there's worry, they're like, listen, if I can make money or I can win a title and they say it's a go, then I'm going to fight the guy, whether I'm suspicious or not. However, there's concern. There's concern. So I want to know. I want to know what people think. Could there be a side? Do you, first of all, I mean, we legitimately have to ask this question because there are people on the East Coast right now who want to make flight reservations and hotel reservations and whatever else to go to Las Vegas. There's the Box Fan Expo, which is a great event, but they're scared, or they're scared to book something that's going to be non-refundable. And so they're waiting for the Nevada State Athletic Commission and whoever else is tied into this to make an announcement that all systems are go. Because in these days and times, when you think you know something, because boxing tradition says if he keeps passing these tests, he's going to be all right and we're going to have a fight. But you never know. And I think legitimately right now, you could look at it as, 65, 35 that we will have a fight, but it was probably 95 to 5% a week ago. I still think, maybe 70-30, okay? 70-30 that we're still going to have the fight. And when I say the fight, I mean Canelo Triple G 2, not Saunders stepping in and fighting either one of the guys, or Canelo fighting someone else and G fighting Saunders, or Canelo fighting Saunders and G fighting somebody else. We just don't know. But I can see, because of the way Gennady Golovkin made those comments, I can see Oscar saying, "Oh, okay. Let me teach you a lesson about A side and keeping your mouth shut and not saying things a certain way," because the accusations were not just against Alvarez, but also against De La Hoya. And I'm as he heard it, and Eric Gomez is the only one who's talking, where we've heard him, but people want to hear from the main two guys. So Gomez, while nobody really seems to care about what he has to say, he's doing his job, and he's covering and he's speaking on behalf of. And so I'm not going to knock what he's doing. That's what he gets paid for. So you can't knock his hustle. It'll be interesting in the next few days to hear what Oscar De La Hoya has to say, Tommy Loeffler, Gennady Golovkin, Saul Canelo Alvarez. Abel Sanchez, and you, the fans, the listeners. I really want to hear what you have to say. Please leave your comments below. If I've never asked you to comment before, I'm asking you now. And so I'm gonna be all booked up, and we'll see, yay or nay, whatever happens. If I have to eat the cost of the flight or what have you, so be it. But I have to operate on the belief that something's going to still happen May 5th. We'll have to see. I think I'm going to cut it pretty much there, but it reminds me of what my man Billy had to say. If you have two guys that rob a bank and they get caught, and one guy already has money, you know what I mean? He just was greedy. He wanted more money. And the other guy didn't have money. And they go to court and they're both guilty. Well, the one guy who didn't have money, he might be treated a different way, but the likelihood is he's going to be guilty and go to prison. But the guy who has a little bit of change on him, a little bit of money, and he gets one of these three-piece suit-wearing lawyers, and he's found not guilty, that's real life. That's the way it works. But in boxing, you don't want to see that A side get all the opportunities. As I stated, had this been Robert the Ghost Guerrero, had this been Brandon Rios, they would say, you know what, the Nevada State Athletic Commission or Bob Bennett would say, you know what, this is great. VADA busted athlete A and athlete B. This is what we want. We applaud VADA. We're not going to have this in our sport. But because it's your cash cow, you treat it differently. He's the guy with the lawyer. Okay? So that's just, it's a shame that it's like that, because other fighters who've had less of the same drug in their system have had to deal with suspensions. Okay? So what's the difference here? Well, the difference is the fighter. So let me know your thoughts below. Not just your thoughts on guilt or innocent or statements made or what have you, but I really want to know what you feel about the injured hand all of a sudden by Billy Joe Saunders. Do you think something's going on behind the scenes? We'll catch you on the next one.